Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
We absolutely need to cancel the cancel culture. When they want to remove or take away, we must stand up against them and cancel their idiocy. Enough said. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance this morning. Good morning. Call in. And a good morning to you on a kind of a wet Thursday morning. This is January 28th. Good morning. I'm Zeb Bell in the studio of Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best in tires and service. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line. Have a Patriot on with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So well done. Thank you, my friend. Call back in a little bit. Appreciate you. Right now, let's head for the weather forecast. I'm anxious to see what it's going to be for the next couple of days, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. Hello, Roger and the crew at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right smack dab on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. No, they've got the best of rental of tools and equipment that you need to finish any kind of a job. Not sure what you need? Call them, 678-3122. They've got all the tools for both long and short-term rental at K&R Rental. And right now, here's the lovely Gina with the weather.
Chance of snow for the next couple of days, then maybe some sunshine for the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We do have a slight chance of rain and or snow showers off and on throughout the day. We are expecting a high of 47 and winds out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. For tonight, again, slight chance of rain and snow in the overnight hours, and we are expecting a low right around 41. Tomorrow, again, slight chance of rain and snow in the morning, rain by the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, high of about 45. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by K&R Rental. They have everything, and that's not an exaggeration. That's a fact. All the tools and equipment, and for whatever job you need to finish up. And if you're not sure, what you need for a job, all you have to do is just call and talk to Roger and the crew about it at 678-3122. K&R Rental on the Burley-Paul Highway. Good morning, everybody, and we'll take that call momentarily. Almost choked to death on that cough drop. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And the number to call, they're there already. They started at 7:30 this morning to 5, Monday through Friday, 678-0459. And it goes without saying, 7 decades of experience with the best of heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and people that are really, really sharp. They know what they're doing. They can provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Caller, good morning to you.
Good morning to you too, Zeb. And be sure to check on Deanne and make sure she's doing fine.
She is doing 110 in a 50-mile zone, doing great.
Great to hear. Joe Biden, we all know he's a blooming idiot. But one executive order he signed yesterday has really got my blood pressure up. And that is the one where he canceled all release of oil and gas on federal lands. You take the state of Wyoming, who depends on that strictly for their education system.
That's right.
Will no longer be.
You know, and Keith, it's a very good point. Excellent point about the idiocy, incompetency, and the brazen, absolute lunacy that this administration is showing we were energy independent and fossil fuel usage was getting better every year for many, many years to where there's minimal particles in the air. I mean, we should be proud of what's happened. But no, we got to throw the baby out with the bathwater and hurt so many people, not just jobs, but education funding and so much more. I have nothing and will have nothing of respect or good to say about the lunacy that's coming from Biden-Harris administration.
You know, the interesting thing is, he repeated the words of Al Gore of 20-some years ago. About climate change.
You know, and they say it's an existential threat. You know what? I find I'm going to say this, and if it offends you or anyone else, I guess I'm just going to have to say I don't care. There is only one being in charge of climate, and that is the good Lord above. Anybody else is an idiot, a moron, and absolutely uneducated if they think mankind can control the climate.
You know, we have experimented, not we, but various people have experimented on seeding clouds to get it to rain and everything like that. Sometimes it might work, but it's the Lord's will.
We're on the threshold of danger when we start playing God. And when I think of Biden and his very incompetent remarks, and John Kerry, that I have absolutely no respect for, this is a dangerous administration, and I'm going to talk about that a little later. Keith, thank you for your call, as always, starting things off. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Let's go for it.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Caller, I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody about a great place to eat, and that's Denny's Restaurant. Oh, my. I mean, it's a reason that they call it America's Diner, because it's just absolutely great place for all Americans to go and have breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. I'll tell you, Thomas, locally, with the locations at 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls, home run. They really have a great staff serving you with all the delicious menu choices. That's right. It's America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Real quick note before we take our next call. I know that person's been waiting, but I want to get this on. Our big thank yous go out to Dino Septic Service. They've been with us for quite some time, and they serve all of southern Idaho. I mean, look, American Falls, all the way to Grouse Creek, Twin Falls, to Jerome, Burley, and Rupert. Man, they're all over taking care of your septic tank needs and taking care of sewer and sink drain line cleaning and backhoe services. They are the best. They know what they're doing, and they can serve you. Call them at 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638, Twin Falls, 735-8281. The best serving you, Dino's Septic Service. Caller, you have been so patient. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Zeb. Boy, you're really booming in this morning.
Well, appreciate that, buddy.
Yesterday, I stopped for gas on Blue Lakes, and there were two cars parked side by side, both from Oregon. So I walked over, and they were packed up. I mean, two cars were packed. I didn't want to get too personal, but anyway, I walked over, and the guy says, as things calm down any place in Oregon, he said, man, things are really bad up there. And I know these people weren't heading north. They were heading south.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have a mass exodus from
from Oregon the same way we're having from California.
Oh, I totally agree. And you can add Washington into the fray also. There are so many people that I know personally that are involved in many, many different businesses and ventures, and they have had it. They can't stand Washington Governor Inslee. They can't stand Brown up in Oregon. And California, I've talked to so many of my friends down there that I used to work with and know in the rodeo business, and they are completely, underline the word, fed up with the governor of California, and they want him out.
And Jose, I can look up to Donald Trump. With the Biden family, I can only look down.
Yeah. I think I'm going to make a pledge that I will never on this program accept anything without a very disdainful remark or whatever against the Biden campaign. I think this man is coming in with his, 40 executive orders, and he's playing dictator, he's playing king, and he's destroying people's lives. And that is a bona fide fact.
Well, you can't, you take one executive order at a time and see how it affects the economy. And
you got
it affects the economy, leave the executive orders alone.
Tony, let me ask you a quick question, and then I've got another call. But how old are you right now? And I'm being so rude, but I want to ask.
Oh, you just crushed me. I'm pushing 91.
Here is a man, ladies and gentlemen, that is so sharp and so absolutely fit and trim. And I know that you and Mary, probably like a lot of us, are going to be living or are living on fixed incomes. And we may be seeing through this mental absolute lack of capacity by Biden, passing laws to shut down all the oil wells, cap the wells, etc. We may, and I talked to a guy yesterday involved in energy research, and he said it's not out of the question that we could be seeing by next fall $7 a gallon. I don't know about you, but I can't budget for that when I have to refill 2 to 3 times a week.
Well, the difference between Mary and I and you and the rest of the older generation is, like, I grew up from a depression, and I knew how bad things were. And I can stand going through a depression and not commit suicide. But this younger generation coming up can't handle this situation like we've got today because they got things too easy.
That's right. You know, Tony, we could go on and on. You are the senior expert, and I appreciate it. God bless you and Mary. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Zed.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been putting something together here, a puzzle for the past 2 weeks. So put a light hand on the reins, a firm grip on the saddle horn, and plant your feet hard into the stirrups.
Yeah. And when you nod your head, expect the worst.
I missed that. What did you say?
I said, and when you nod your head, expect the worst.
Yeah, that too. Anyway, just here in the last 24 hours, Jennifer Granholm is the past governor of Michigan, has been confirmed as the Secretary of Energy.
Mm-hmm.
And something that's always been important to me, as the Forest Service was originally documented as protecting our watersheds within our country. Down in Nevada, the Canadians have been coming in and mining out mountain areas above ranches within our communities or ranches below, and dewatering those ranges and sending it down the Humboldt, down to the sinks at Carlin.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind that this Jennifer Granholm, she probably has dual citizenship. She's originally comes out of Canada and has come into this country.
Yep.
The mining, well, the mining laws and environmental laws are stronger in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially forcing out the mining industries out of Canada into the United States.
Right.
Where there's lesser restrictions. And I call it taking the golden run.
Yeah. Earl, go ahead quickly because I've got to do a commercial real fast. Wrap it up if you can.
Well, so many things are starting to fall into place here, Zeb. Last week there was calves that broke loose out there in Burley from the sale yard.
Uh-huh.
Those calves were coming out of Ludd, Nevada.
Right.
And they were running out of feed for their cattle. And it all falls in these watershed basins that has been being depleted for the last 30 years.
We have some sinister effects going on in this country of power, elitism, and to heck with the small people that are trying to make a living, to heck with the ranchers and farmers, to heck with the smaller communities. And right now, I absolutely think it's high time, past time, to stand up and cause as much of a ruckus as we can to try to restart or resume normalcy in this country. Earl, I got to run. I appreciate it, but I've got to get some commercials in.
One other thing
real fast
that I've got to bring up, and all of the southern side of the Snake River lays within the Great Basin,
right,
or that of Lake Bonneville, which drained through the Snake River Basin approximately 15,000 years ago. So all of our water resources from those times, which our groundwaters are tens of thousands of years old, are being depleted from even the basin, the lower basins in Nevada.
Right.
And this little thing I started on is just growing into a big project.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you and I will talk privately, and I'll get more information and talk with you on this, Earl. I appreciate you bringing it up. It's just one more item to worry about and be very concerned about. Thank you, as always, the man up on the mountain up at Albion. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, buddy. Hey, don't forget Cheney Flooring and Home Design, Idaho's premier home design center. Oh, Whitney does a beautiful job designing your spaces. I'll tell you what, she has got a mind for that job. She can see things the rest of us can't, I'll tell you, when it comes to the beautification of your home and what she can do. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, of course, they've got all the luxury vinyl, plank, carpet tile, hardwood, mosaics, countertops, home decor. They do a great job. They're located at 1300 Overland Avenue in Burley. You stop in today at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I think I want to start things off by saying, and I mean this, the Biden-Harris presidency is so radically left and so ridiculously stupid. We, the people, have to devise a way, and I mean every word I'm saying, a way to get them out of control before they destroy this nation permanently. How? Well, we must protect and protest. That's right. Protect and protest and gather petitions of discord from all senators and congressmen in every state, local, and national. I absolutely think we've got to really get out and work hard to let these people wearing the three-piece suits and the wingtip shoes know, we're not going to accept this garbage. We are not going to lay down, roll over, and be used as a welcome mat for the liberal left to come in and absolutely turn us into slaves. We need to let them know that millions upon millions of people do not want these dictatorial edicts that this mindless and senseless President Biden is heaping upon us. And one of the things, stand by, caller, to use Biden's words, he wants to supercharge the climate change effort. Look out for those words. He is not God. Far from it. And we mere mortals have nothing to do with any climate change, and it's absolutely, I think, a slap in God's face. This man and his administration are detestable. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, just think of it this way. Joe's probably wearing a Depends. He probably wore one on the inauguration day. And you know as well as I do, he may or may not remember what happened yesterday. And we just don't know where he's at, because all he does is, when he does stand up and say something, he reads it, but he may not remember it. So in the behind the scenes, wherever they meet every day and every night as they calculate to destroy us, they're in there, the destructors are in there, and they're saying to themselves, well, maybe some of them want to moderate, and others say, now's the time to do it. We need to seize control while we have the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And does this mean act to court, D.C. and Puerto Rico states? And then we just, it gets to the point where there is no way to take it back short of bloodshed and arms. You see?
I can't argue with what you're saying.
Sorry.
No, just listen to me for a second, and I really respect your point and your opinion. But, Randy, anytime anyone gets on the radio or television or in the newspaper, and you even a slight little bit make an influence that there has to be violence or whatever to turn this bus around before it goes over a cliff, bang, the left is going to get you. That's exactly what's happening in this country. And two guys talking in a coffee shop, they might get arrested. Look at that kid yesterday, Randy. I read a little bit about him. He was 27 or 28 years old, and he was making joking remarks and drawing little cartoons and sending little notes about the Biden government, and they called him a political terrorist, and he's up on charges. What happened, my dear friend Randy, to free speech in this country?
I tell you what, and then the silence of our elected officials, Republican officials, and the gutlessness.
Yeah.
And we need to, okay, let's just say this. At least here in Idaho, we need to have Crapo and Risch and Simpson, who is never going to show up. But Crapo and Risch on the program somewhere, stating what they're going to do to stop this and help the people of America and Idaho. They need to be on record. They need to stay.
Okay, but wait a minute. You have been very, very helpful to my program on many, many instances of calling these people and saying, why aren't you coming on? And I appreciate that. I want to let you know and the audience know how much I appreciate your remarks. Why is it that when there's an invitation to, whether it's Risch, whether it's Crapo, even Simpson, that they refuse to have their people call and try to arrange time? Please tell me. I've got the most listened to program in its time slot right now anywhere. And I honestly can't understand why these people think they're so arrogantly more important than their constituents that they can't call and make an appointment to come on the air. Tell me why.
Well, this is, I have made calls back there, but it's been so jammed, I haven't gotten through. This is my intent. I'm going to call up, and I'm going to suggest this, and I'm going to say, if you don't do it, well, what am I going to do to them? Nothing.
Yeah.
And so all we can do is hope that we can somehow get a regular interview with the Crapo, Risch, and I don't know if Simpson will ever do anything, and have them come on a radio program in southern Idaho, whether or not it's, Nampa, Twin, I don't care.
They need to be on all of them once every 2 weeks, and they need to be held accountable for what they say and what they're going to do.
Absolutely. And they're doing nothing. They're doing nothing.
What are the people?
No, I just jumped in and said they're doing nothing. Have you heard, please tell me, and I got a commercial I got to get on here, but listen. Have you heard any remarks at all about, the Trump possible impeachment or the Trump censure or anything from our senators or congressmen involving the heavy new supercharged climate change that Biden is putting forth? Have you heard anything about any issue that they've signed with the stroke of a pen that is going to affect and hurt a lot of families? I haven't heard anything. Have you?
No, not a word. They never say anything. And I've asked Crapo in the past, why don't you speak up? You're not going to get, nobody's going to beat you. Speak up. Do something. Say something. Stand up. Like Jim Jordan from Ohio.
Amen.
The freedom, the caucus. And I don't, he says, I do. And I says, why don't we ever hear about it?
Yeah.
And he says, well, they don't cover it because it's whatever. I don't even see them anymore. They're not even come out here.
Oh, they'll be here for the
banquet.
They'll be here for the Lincoln Day.
Nothing more than a fundraiser.
Yeah. They'll be here for Lincoln Day, and they'll walk in, and they'll look so stately, and they'll stand so straight and tall, and they will shake the hands of us, the little people, and then they will say what they're doing, and they will be escorted out of the room to go to another function. Oh, aren't they wonderful? I'm fed up with it. Caller number 2, stand by. I'm coming. Randy, always appreciate your remarks.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you, buddy. Caller, stand by. I'm going to get this in quickly, and I want to remind everybody about Berry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. They've got the Bobcats, all the trenchers, all the scissor lifts, all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators. For the lifting, the digging, the pushing, and the carrying, I'll tell you what, they've got the equipment. Oh, and you're saying to yourself, I don't know how to run it. What do I do? Well, it's easy. They've got a big sandbox out behind the business, and they will teach you. These are good people with really good rental programs and finance programs if you want to buy. Check it out today. Berry Equipment and Rental at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location for Berry Equipment and Rental. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Good to hear your subject matter and Randy's input this morning. Unfortunately, in South Central Idaho, no matter which state district of the legislature we're talking about down here, we have successfully elected leftists. And they run as Republicans, but the reality is they're the leftist bird. They just happen to be the right wing, and the Democrats are the left wing. And we keep putting the same people in. And 10 years ago, if we bombarded the email boxes or the voicemail boxes of legislators, we could get them to pause and to listen to us. And they have gotten so brazen today that they're just mad because we bother them.
Mm-hmm.
Representative from 25 was on a program the other day and basically said that she didn't have time for what she got paid $18,000 a year to go to special sessions. I mean, we basically have got people that Crapo doesn't care, Simpson doesn't care. Simpson's whining about the legislators going against the proper rule and authority of the king, and the reality is it's the people who have told their legislators that we want out of this emergency. So you could call it being slapped, but he's not slapping the legislators. He's using them for the whipping post. Who he's slapping are the citizens who have been electing him.
Yeah.
He's telling us that we are too stupid, which is what Little has been telling us. It's what Bedke tells us. It's what Winder tells us. It's what Crane tells us, that we are all too stupid to know what's good for us.
I'm just going to let me jump in and say something. Let me jump in and say something back to you, and I am certainly not trying to cover anybody and shelter them, so please bear with me a minute. I know for a certain fact that we do have legislators and senators in the state of Idaho, and Sean, I got a little feedback here, please help me, that are doing a good job and are deeply concerned about their constituents and how the job is done. But I will also concede with your point that many of them are looking at this as, don't bother me, I'm too busy, go away, hide in the corner, I'll try to get to your bill or get to your information when I can. I agree with you, but I think we have to be really careful of not lumping everyone into the same negative process.
Yes, sir. I would agree. I am friends with several of the good ones. We don't happen to own any of them, unless you're in District 23. All of them live in other parts of the state of Idaho, and we can't seem...
I lost him. Are you there? Sean, I think did his cell phone go off, or we lost him, I think?
He's still there, but something happened to his phone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's go ahead and I'll talk to him on the air without him being on the line. Go ahead. Cut him off. Sir, if you're listening to me, your phone all of a sudden just absolutely blanked out. We did not cut you off. Once again, I want to let that caller know we did not cut him off. The phone quit all of a sudden. It certainly wasn't our fault at the station. We apologize that the call was cut off, but it was not our doing. Sir, if you're listening, call back on a better phone or another phone, and we'll try to get you back on the air. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I talked to a a very good friend last night that said they are going to Wick Steak Place and Burnout Saloon tonight at 18 East Main Street in Declo. Oh, are they in for a treat? Oh, put your napkin on the front of your shirt. Get ready to dig in. It is good food. Let me tell you, they're open Wednesday through Saturday from 4 to closing time, and they specialize in all kinds of different goodies. Sandwiches to steaks, hamburgers to prime rib and lobster and chicken. Oh, I'm drooling all over the microphone. I was there the other night. It is good eating. Absolutely. Call your friends and neighbors. Everybody go to Wick Steak Place and Burnout Saloon, 18 East Main Street in Declo. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, where is Liz Cheney when this comes out that this lease has been canceled for all of Wyoming and their oil and gas industry? Where the heck is she? If they don't recall her, I'll tell you what, I don't know what this nation is becoming.
I don't have very much use or anything good to say about Liz Cheney. I think that she is absolutely overrated, far overrated, as to her abilities and competency for her job. And I would love to see her have multiple choices against her at the next election. I don't like Liz Cheney. I can't say it any more clear than that.
Well, your feelings are exactly the same as mine. But I just thought about that this morning after you see that Biden's signing these things without even giving it any consideration.
Yeah. I mean, what he is doing, is devastating. I'm going to use that word, devastating and destroying families with no care or thought whatsoever. Let me throw this at you real quick, Keith Cottom. Let's assume that you're 40-some-odd years old. Let's assume that you have 3 kids in school. Let's assume that you've been with a oil company for, let's say, 15 to 20 years, and you've got a great future ahead. You got a pension plan and everything else. All of a sudden, with a stroke of a pen, this idiotic president has destroyed the oil business, destroyed your job, and he has the guts and so does his administration, to come out and say, oh, don't worry about that job. You can get a job working in a solar plant, building solar panels. What? When? Where's the jobs? Where are the manufacturing companies? Do they have to leave? Do they have to sell their residence? Do the kids have to leave their school? Is there a job available? Oh, it's all over in China. Do we have to move to China? This complete idiocy that's being shown to the American public by the Biden administration is absolutely repugnant.
It is so far-reaching, Zeb, that you got to think about it. You take like the example you just given us. He's out of work all of a sudden, and he can't even sell his home so he can go somewhere else to make a living.
Yeah.
He can't even do that because there's no market.
There's no respect for the workers in America. Let me give you another example, and then I've got to take some more calls. Here you've got John Kerry, Mr. Ketchup, a multi-millionaire because he married into the Heinz family. And this guy that resembles the 1960s Addams Family lurch absolutely came out yesterday and said, well, all these workers that have to leave their job, they're just going to have to make better choices. How would you like to be one of those oil people that's looking over their shoulder? We have no job. We don't have any money to pay the mortgage. We don't have any money to pay the pickup. We're broke. What are we going to do? The kids need new shoes. And this imbecile, John Kerry, comes out and says, well, you're just going to have to make better choices.
You know, there isn't enough cows, steers, or whatever in Wyoming to rectify this.
I'm just livid about the stupidity of the Biden and Harris administration and the arrogance that they can do this with a stroke of the pen and hurt people permanently. I mean, these people over in Wyoming or these people over in Nebraska or anywhere in the Dakotas that need the Keystone Pipeline and the communities that need the money turned over at the local Dairy Queen or the local restaurant or the local shoe store or whatever, that's not going to be there anymore because good old King Biden and his administrative bunch of flunkies have said that, oh no, we cater more to the green energy instead of these people.
You know, I think he's adapted a new slogan. Don't confuse me with the facts. My mind is made up.
He doesn't have a mind. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate your call. I just have had it with just a new administration wreaking havoc and misery on the American public. You know, I want to stop the bus here for a minute, put my foot on the brake, and I'm going to do the weather forecast. And then I want to talk to you about some other idiocy with Dr. Anthony Fauci. This man, to me, needs to have his face cut out of paper and put on a dartboard and really feel good if you get one right on the end of his nose. I have no time or want to listen to this man and his edicts. Stand by. I'll tell you more in just a minute. Weather forecast brought to you this hour by our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And believe me, they have the best practices and technology to help your hearing health. They're right behind the Minidoka County Hospital, across from the emergency room, and they're waiting to serve you. I bit my tongue right there. You probably noticed that. The number to call, 312-0957 for your hearing health. They help me. They can help you with the best of technology, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, here's Gina with the forecast.
Chance of snow for the next couple of days, then maybe some sunshine for the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We do have a slight chance of rain and or snow showers off and on throughout the day. We are expecting a high of 47 and winds out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. For tonight, again, slight chance of rain and snow in the overnight hours, and we are expecting a low right around 41. Tomorrow, again, slight chance of rain and snow in the morning, rain by the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, high of about 45. That's a look at your weather. For Zeb at the Rain.
Thank you very much, Gene. Appreciate it. And brought to everybody this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Hearing loss happens gradually, so if you've noticed a diminishment in your hearing, get a hold of these folks today. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, 312-0957. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Dr. Fauci has been on every side of every issue, and initially he said, this was a very weak virus, and you didn't need to wear a mask and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden he changed tune, and of course now he's just bashing Trump. Of course, Trump said that he inherited Fauci, the $417,000 salary that he gets, and misinformation. Now he's just become part of the deep state. Maybe he has been all along.
Adrian, let me jump in and tell you something that happened yesterday, and maybe you're aware of it, maybe you aren't. But Fauci was interviewed about the wearing of masks in the resurgence of new strains of this Chinese virus. And he came out and he said it might be that we'll have to start telling people to wear 2 or 3 masks at a time. Okay, stop right there. I decided this morning that I would try wearing not 1, not 2, but 3 masks of the type that they wear in hospitals. I put on 3 masks, and I'll tell you what, after 30 seconds, I thought I was going to die with a starvation of oxygen. This is lunacy.
It is lunacy. It absolutely is lunacy. And for him to be a medical guy, supposedly, it's unbelievable. Because 1 mask is bad enough. You're breathing back carbon dioxide and all the things you should be expelling. If you're not sick, there's no chance of you spreading it to anybody else. If you're sick, stay home.
Yep.
But, the problem is this is all about control. It's all about lockdown. They want to keep us controlled, and they don't want to let go now because they've found a way. They've got everybody scared to death. And it's interesting, the total number of deaths in the U.S., Zeb, is basically flat. COVID's way up there, but heart attacks and cancer, all of those are way down by about the same amount of numbers. We have no flu season this year, and yet you normally have 35 to 60,000 people die, and the flu actually does kill children, and COVID-19 almost does not affect kids at all. The chances of it.
Well, all I'm going to do is jump in. I'm just going to jump in and...
0.997, Zeb.
I know that. You're 100% right. But audience, take my word for it or do a little test yourself. Put on 3 masks and stand there for about 30 seconds, or if you're walking, and if you're wearing glasses, your glasses will fog up and you won't be able to see, and you'll run into a light post and probably kill yourself that way. But you will have a lack of oxygen to the point where you're going to be like I am. I've got claustrophobia. I took them off after about 30 seconds and said, Fauci, you're an idiot. Adrian, I got to go. I got other calls waiting. Thank you.
Wait, that's true. And don't wear a mask unless if you go into a store, put the mask at least, breathe through your nose because you need oxygen 24/7, not just part of the day.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate it. I'll tell you what, it really bothered me when I put on and tried what he said. Not 1, not 2, but 3 masks, and make sure that they were all fitted properly like the first one. Whoa, that is not going to work. And that's the incompetency of Dr. Anthony Fauci. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Okay, I got a hold of Ray Crapo and Rish, and I was very stern, and I explained to the aide, I says, if you don't get this information to Senator Crapo and Senator Rish, I says, I'm going to call you every day until you do. And I says, tomorrow I'm going to call up, and I'm going to ask you if you did your job, because you work for us, and the people of Idaho are afraid. So, this is the difference between what used to be and what is now. If you want to call Senator Crapo directly, so you don't have to walk through the line and wait for all the BS, it's 202-224-6142.
Right.
That's Crapo. That's direct to their office.
Right.
You don't have to go through the switchboard operator and who may or may not be friendly to you and I in any way, shape, or form. Okay, RISH is 202-224-2752. Now, tomorrow I'm going to find out if they did their job, because I told them, I says, we need to have Crapo and Rish on a radio program, and yours, and I brought up Collie, and I says, we need to know that somebody's on this program telling us what they're going to do.
Well, I'm not going to... Wait a minute, Randy. I'm not going to promote anybody else's program on my show, so don't do that. I've got my own boat to float. Wait a minute. They've got their show to take care of. I've got mine. I will absolutely say that this next week, I'm going to be gone next week, and Sharon's going to handle the program along with Gina. That being said, if they want to come on the program, they can absolutely go through the proper channels by calling and making arrangements to come on the program. And I thank you for your time and effort on that.
Right, and I did make an executive decision. Being I know your cell phone by heart, I gave it to him.
I don't care.
I don't know anybody else's phone.
No, seriously. I don't care if you gave them my cell phone. I don't care if you told them to call me. I absolutely think it's high time they did. Maybe this sounds egotistical to you and anybody else out in the audience. I am not going to chase after an employee of mine. And they are employees of mine and yours and everybody else's. They should be making sure they get to the phone and make arrangements to talk to us.
Well, that's the thing. See, we not only need to call them, which means very little, but we need to make sure the aide gets the information to them as directly as possible. But then they need to be out here on a program every 2 weeks. Every week would be better, considering the amount of insanity that 40 executive orders.
Yeah, I mean, it is insanity. It is insanity, and it's going to get worse.
Is eating pudding this morning.
Yeah.
He don't know. He might be on the toilet.
Well, I got to run, Randy, but I want to tell you this. I mean this. I knew you would follow through. You always have. Thank you for your effort. Thank you very much.
You bet.
All right. Yeah, when I want to get right back over here to talk about Fauci and the masks and everything and the complete merry-go-round that the Fauci people and Birx and everybody else has said about the Chinese virus. And just try it. Go ahead, try it today, and if you wear masks to go to the grocery store or whatever, put on 3 of them at the same time. And then please call me after you bring yourself back to realization you've passed out for a lack of oxygen. Tell me how wonderful it was. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Real quick, our dear friends, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires. Now, here we are in the winter, and they've got, I was in there the other day, they've got tires over tires over tires over tires. They've got all the tread designs, all the sizes for all vehicles. And they've got a staff that every one of them majored in tireology. They can give you all the answers to your questions, along with the best in brake service, front end alignments. Oh, that's really important. Make sure that front end on the vehicle is not going south when you're going north. And the best in shocks and struts and batteries. All of this and more at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and Trent on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Real quick note, I want to get this in. The cancel culture is now aiming and canceling in their way, which we need to cancel them, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Paul Revere, and even the writer of the greatest anthem, our national anthem, Francis Scott Key. Enough of this garbage. We've got to stand up, like I said earlier this morning, and cancel the cancel culture. We've got to go on the offense and change these people to a defensive posture and then knock them on their keister. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We're going to take a break for about 7 minutes. I'm going to calm down, and we'll be back with more right after this newscast with the Chamber Report and also Nick Greenwell over at Burley Physical Therapy. Don't go away. Oh, my grandmother used to say, ay, 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 ay. It goes on and on. Good morning, everybody. Our major sponsor at Zebeth Ranch, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires and service, along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Hey, big event coming up on Tuesday, February 9th at our friends Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Joel Heward, his family, and his staff, they're going to have kind of a drive-through. What do I mean? Well, instead of you getting all cleaned up and getting out of your car or pick-em-up truck, you can just drive over there in the parking lot. They're going to have all kinds of information available for you and food. Oh, yeah? Drive-through so people don't have to get out and get all the vital statistic forms, veteran forms, information on traditional services, cremation, all of this, and it's going to be from 4 till it's done on Tuesday, February 9th at Hanson Mortuary. 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call for more information, 436-5636. And a big shout out also to our dear friends over at Denny's Restaurant. Oh, good eating. I'm telling you, man, you pick up the menu and you've got a dilemma because you don't know what you're going to order. It's all delicious, whether it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or desserts. Oh, yeah, they've got some great desserts over there at America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Thomas and the staff serving you at Denny's Restaurant. Well, I don't get a chance to talk with this lady very much because on Thursdays, many times, I'm out of the area and Sharon takes over. But here she is in all of her radiant glory, the president and CEO of the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Wait a second, folks. She's got to sit down on her throne over there. The scepter's slipping a little bit. Here is the Queen, Penny Main.
That's stretching it a bit, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess. Well, it sounds a lot better than just saying, okay, Penny, talk to me.
I know, right? I appreciate the build-up, but I'm afraid I'm probably going to disappoint some people today. But at any rate, I was just thinking about Denny's. I just had lunch there. Gosh, I can't remember when. I had their, I think it was $6 hamburger and fries special. Oh, my gosh. I almost wish you hadn't reminded me of that this morning because now I want to go have lunch, and it's only 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, gosh, it's great to be here. Good to hear you, Zeb. Let me give a shout-out real quick, if I may, this morning to the good folks at Kim Hansen, Adam, Kim, the entire staff at Kim Hansen Chevrolet, recently rejoined the Chamber. We appreciate them so much. They live just behind me. They're great neighbors, good people, and I just want to give them a thanks for coming back to the Chamber of Commerce. We're so grateful for that. If you like to gamble a little bit, by the way, and who couldn't use a little extra cash, the VFW, Veterans of Foreign War, Post 3043, they're back to hosting bingo every night now at their location on 554 Highland in Burley. They've got a $600 jackpot, a chance at winning $600 every Saturday night. Yeah, that sounds great. And all proceeds benefit local veterans organizations. The doors open about 4 o'clock. And surprisingly, it's hard pill for me to swallow. Let me get that out. When you think about, people who are homeless, the kids who are homeless, people who aren't eating, at the top of the stoop there is, local veterans, and a lot of them are struggling through this pandemic. Many of them have been ill. Some of them are homeless, and I just give a big shout out and debt of gratitude to folks at the VFW here in Burley because they do a great job taking care of veterans. hard to believe, and I was just thinking about this just a couple of days ago. I'm thinking it's Easter again almost. It's hard to believe. It seems like, again, 2020, it seems like it just happened like a month ago, but it's happening again. Thank goodness Easter is happening again. The Minidoka County Historical Society will host an Easter egg hunt at the museum on I believe it's the 27th, and I don't have the date there for you, but let me double check. Yes, it is March 27th, Zeb, at 2 o'clock out at the museum in Rupert, and they've just got a great afternoon of fun planned for everybody, and they're going to have some great giveaways and lots of great eats for kids and adults alike. So make sure you head out there the afternoon of Saturday, March 27th. Again, they start about 2 o'clock, the festivities. Going to be lots of fun. Dr. Rick Parker and his team over there have done a great job putting that museum back together, and it's really a sight to behold and something to be so terribly proud of. Around the corner, too, is summer. Hallelujah. Can't wait. For those of you who love to boat and get on the river, and I know many of you do because I see a lot of you every day when the summer hits here on the river. And if you maybe have some youngsters or some teenagers or some adults that could use a brush-up on some safety classes when you're on the water and in the boat, well, the good folks at the Cadillac County Sheriff's Department, along with Idaho Water Sports, are offering boater classes, and I think there's a series of 3 of them. They start February 6th, and they're free. So you can call today, 878-9358. And the good news on top of all of that is those who fully complete the certification classes will get a $50 gift certificate from Idaho Water Sports to spend for summertime. So that's a great deal. Again, the classes are free, and you get a $50 gift certificate to boot from Idaho Water Sports. All you have to do is call and register 878-9358. And the good news is this. Hallelujah, we are bringing back our golf scramble. We had it a little late last year due to COVID, but by golly, we're going to hold it June 23rd this year, and that will be Regatta Week, so that's going to be lots of fun. So those of you who love to golf and want to be part of that, please give us a call. We're just getting started planning that big event, but that's our biggest fundraiser of the year, and as a nonprofit organization, we need all the help we can get, but we always get great turnout and extraordinary support from all over Minnecaji, including some folks out of Twin Falls that come and help us. We're so grateful for that. So again, mark your calendars if you love to golf. Wednesday, June 23rd, again at the River's Edge over here in Burley. If you need some information, you could call us here at the Chamber, 208-679-4793. And last but not least, we'd love to have you as part of the Chamber of Commerce. I will say real quickly, we had great success with adding members in 2019. Great success. 45 new members we added from about April until the end of the year in 2019. Because of COVID, last year, of course, with all the challenges, we only added 11 new members. But here's some good news, and I'm so happy about this. It's not even the end of January, and since the end of December, we have added 5 new members already to the Minnecaji Chamber of Commerce. So if we can help you grow your business, if there's a way we can help you connect with other great people throughout these communities we serve, please give us a call. Again, 679-4793. Typically, we're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. You can check us out on Facebook, or make sure you take a quick note. We're updating our website today, MinnecajiChamber.com.
Holy. Are you done?
I'm finished. Give me the question. I'm ready.
All right. Hey, listen. Now I'm going to change the complexion of how we do this. If you answer this question, I'm not just going to congratulate you.
You'll take me to lunch at Denny's.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I love that.
All right. Deanna and I talked it over, and if you can come up with the answer to this question, we will gladly take you to lunch at Denny's. And it's really not that tough a question.
I'd like to see the answer, so that'd be awesome.
All right. Well, good. Here's the question.
Okay.
Do you and are you familiar with the movies called Major League? Do you remember those? The comedy Major League with Charlie Sheen and others?
Yes, and others. Yes,
okay. All right. Are you familiar with the movie? Are you familiar with the movie The Return to Lonesome Dove?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the TV commercials that are put on by Allstate, and there is a tall, lanky, black actor that does the television commercials for Allstate. He played one of the Major League ball players in Major League, and he played the heinous killer in the movie In the Return to Lonesome Dove. He played Cherokee Jack. What is the actor's name?
I love that guy, and he's tall, and he's bright, and he's smart, and he has the greatest pitch voice in the world, and I don't know his name. It's right on the tip of my tongue, and so I guess I'm not having lunch with Deanne.
Not this week. Not this week, but I'll tell you, it's a hard question. His name is... Are you ready? His name is Dennis Haysbert.
What's the last name?
Haysbert.
Oh, my gosh. Isn't he great, too? He's got the greatest voice.
You want to know something else about this guy? He turned down athletic scholarships to go into college with basketball and football, and he went into acting school, but he had a brother that played football as a wide receiver for BYU.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just great information. Look at you doing all your research.
I wanted to make sure I didn't give up a lunch at Denny's.
Hang it. I know. I'm just going to take Deanne to lunch and I'll buy.
What happened to me? Am I all of a sudden being
with that, do you?
The cancel culture?
Hey, well, as usual, it's been fun. As usual, I feel a dash defeated. But I will cowgirl up, and I will get through this Thursday.
I look forward to it. Penny, you do a wonderful job as the president and CEO of the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. God bless you. Thank you for a fine, fine dissertation this morning.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Bye.
All right, thank you. That lady has done a wonderful job at the Chamber. Real quick, before we get to talk to my old buddy Nick, we're going to tell you about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits. All of this and more for you, your family, and your business. Please get a hold of them today. Todd and the crew are very accessible, very devoted to serving you. The number to call, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And I cannot even begin to tell you how much... He's not on the phone yet? Well, hopefully he will be there shortly. And we're going to be talking to Nick at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and also Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. That'll give me maybe just a chance, while Sean's trying to get him on the line. I'm going to tell everybody about Patterson's Electronics. Holy moly, have they got some great sale items right now. They've got Bluetooth stereo with CD, AM, FM, now only $54.99. They've got a Sony touchscreen stereo, regularly $299.99, now just $269. Woo! And they've got the food storage supplies. You better check it out today at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and they absolutely can answer all your electronic need questions. Get a hold of them today. Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Have we got Nick on the line?
He's not answering his phone.
Oh, don't tell me that. Let's see. Can you please try the office at 678-1191 and see if he's there? Would you please? All right, thank you. While we are waiting patiently for Nick to pick up the telephone line, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I didn't ask this question the other day, but it came up again on the news last night. Why? Why? And think about this and give me your answer. Why are thousands of National Guard troops still laying on cement floors and other places in Washington, D.C. at our expense? Why? Some of the people that are starting to ask this question are saying that the reason that they are there and haven't been recalled to their home states is that the Biden administration is waiting possibly to use them as a source of martial law. In other words, the Biden administration, with all their edicts and their executive orders, they are afraid there's going to be a public outcry, and there should be, against what they're doing. And one of the things I heard on the news last night, two different sources, was that they're holding those troops there as a sense and form of providing martial law. I've never seen such a thing. I appreciate it, Sean. Thank you very much. Give me your thoughts on that in just a few minutes. Well, there he is, my friend and the owner of Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, along with Elite Fitness, my good buddy, Nick Greenwell. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Obviously getting pulled in 18 different directions this morning. I apologize.
No. I don't think I've ever seen anybody that is as busy as you are. I mean, when I'm in there getting work done with my knee and my hip, I mean, you get a call from this. You get called over to talk to another patient. You get another thing over here. Really, they ought to call you Compass because you're covering all 4 points of the compass.
Yeah, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing some days. But yes, we're plenty busy, and we love that.
He's going so fast and so hard, he hasn't even had time to shave for about 3 weeks.
Always the case. Always the case.
What's going on? This time I'm going to highlight first and foremost Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley. I went by there the other evening on my way back from a dinner, and there were a lot of people over there.
Yeah, it's been really good. We've made a lot of changes, and we've just kind of slowly we purchased that facility about a year and a half ago, and obviously we struggled through the whole initial COVID restriction phase, and we shut down, and instead of just twiddling our thumbs during those few months where we had to shut down, we really got in there and got our hands dirty and painted everything and cleaned everything and replaced a bunch of bad equipment and lubricated everything and just really did a pretty good gut job and hired some new staff members and created some new group fitness classes, and we're just trying to pick up on maybe what's missing in the community is, as far as specialty classes for women's health and senior fitness and kids and all of that. And it's just really done a good thing for us. And now we're very busy. Yeah, if you go over there about 5:30 in the morning, it's jamming. Same thing between 4:30 and about 7:30. It's busy, and the nice thing about it is it's a pretty low-key, unintimidating type environment. You don't have to be a supermodel, and you don't have to, have ripped six-pack abs and be throwing 500 pounds over your head to go work out there like some places. But anyway, we're really thrilled for it. It's been a great thing for us in the therapy world as well, because we see patients there now, have a clinic there now, and we start folks over here, and when they get to the point where they need a little more room to move or maybe some different types of equipment, we go down and we treat them there for a few weeks and then turn them over to a maintenance program where they can continue on their own, and then we're always there to answer questions. So that model has worked phenomenal for us.
Let me ask you this, Nick. When people go in the door at Elite Fitness and they see all the different exercise machines, many of which they probably don't know what they do or are expected to do, what do? Give them kind of a training session and show them on a person-to-person basis how to use them, etc.?
You bet. Yeah, we've tried to. That's a common problem places, right? Especially for folks that maybe they've never been to a gym before. Maybe they're older and they're again just have a lot of questions and are curious what not to do. Oftentimes, you can hurt yourself if you use it wrong. And so we have developed a little plan to where when you sign up, we set you up with an initial consultation with one of our personal trainers, as well as our nutrition counselor, and they walk you through, show you all of the equipment, have you set goals, see what kind of a program you're looking for, and that way we can kind of help you develop it and make sure that you're safe while you're there. And then again, we're always there for to answer questions, and if you have nutrition goals or lean body body mass goals or whatever, we have a very high-level system. It's called an in-body system over there that can test all that for you, and you can set goals, and we can repeat those tests whenever. And then I also do some initial consultations there for folks. Maybe we're getting ready to discharge from our skilled physical therapy program, and so we kind of schedule their last visit there, and then I can walk through them, or through the facility with them, show them around, and kind of show them exactly what to do, and maybe more importantly, what not to do.
Nick, let me ask you this, and this is kind of a catch-all question, but when you talk to people about an exercise program, how much time actually should an exercise program take on a per day or a 3 times a week basis? How long, time-wise?
Well, it really depends. Really depends on what your goals are, right? So if it's a younger person that's trying to get ready to run a triathlon, or does mountain sports, or something like that, obviously we're gonna do that for a longer period of time. But for kind of us average Joes that are just trying to stay a little bit fit and keep our cholesterol in check and just be healthy and not stiff when you get out of bed in the morning. Most programs, if you're going to come to the gym and do a program, I've got folks that come over for 30 minutes, and they can kind of get in and out and get their thing done. They're on the treadmill for 10 minutes, and they do their upper body here and their lower body here, and they stretch for minutes, and they're gone in 30 minutes. And do that 3 or 4 times a week, and they're great. I would say probably a better average is between 30 and 60 minutes, 3 times a week. Again, it's just based on your goals, right? If you're doing a lot of cardio, that takes longer because you need to get up into that target heart rate for at least 30 minutes to gain that benefit. So really based on goals, but I would say 30 minutes to an hour is probably plenty for 90% of the population.
Let me ask you this question, and I've often heard this. Free weights versus machines. Which one is actually better for the strengthening and the enlarging of our muscles?
They both have benefits and contraindications, so to speak. If there's any kind of trunk control issues where you're having a hard time stabilizing, right, and then I like machines for that, right, because they're safer. It's not like you're balancing when you're using them. You can just let the machine go and it stops, right? If you're lifting a big old barbell with a bunch of weight on it and you're doing squats or whatever, and for some reason you have some instability issues, that could really hurt you, right? So the principle is kind of the same as far as building muscle, right? We know that we have to have resistance in order to increase the girth of the muscle. We have to lift a little bit heavier. And you can do that with both machines and free weights. It's kind of personal preference, to be honest. But we also have a program now to where maybe you're injured or maybe you can't tolerate lifting heavy weights because you've got arthritis or you've got some other thing, some previous injury or something. We've got a system called blood flow restriction where it's safe. It's used all over the United States, in fact, all over the world now, where we have a very specialized machine that we put on maybe your arm or your leg, and we can reduce the blood flow for a short period of time, 6 to 8 minutes, and do really light exercise, maybe 20% of what you would normally lift. And we can still make strength gains because it changes from the aerobic system of generating that strength to the anaerobic system. And so there's a lot of science behind that, but we're using that more and more to kind of help preserve people's joints and work through injuries and things like that and still be able to gain muscle girth without lifting heavy weights. So that's something that's very unique to our facility as well.
See, I told you, folks, this guy knows what he's talking about. The owner of Elite Fitness and Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, Nick Greenwell. Man, I learn a lot every time I talk to you. Nick, thank you so much for being on the program this morning.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. You guys have a great weekend, all right?
All right, take care. Nick Greenwell, Elite Fitness at 1200 Oakley Avenue in Burley, and, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Really, really good people. Oh, boy, let me see what I've got here real quick. Don't forget on Tuesdays at 10:30, the Idaho Legislative Update with our legislature and what's happening up there for the session for 2021. And next week, I'm not sure which person is going to be on the air, but it's at Tuesdays at 10:30 and sponsored by Handy Truck Lines, 400 West, 100 South of Paul. The Handy Truck Lines established in 1928 and providing the best of transportation services to the Northwest. Thank you, Handy Truck Lines. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and we're going to have a guest on the phone that has never been on here before, I believe. Her name is Jennifer Kearns, and she's the host of the new nationally syndicated show, All American Radio with Jennifer Kearns.
She's also not answering her phone.
You're not the bearer of good tidings this morning.
I know. It's just one of those days.
Yes, and I'm not happy. But keep trying if you would, please. She's supposed to be there. And in the interim, please call the numbers at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Deanne, if you're listening out in the other room, maybe you could come in here and also help Sean in tracking down where our guest is for this morning. And hopefully we'll get her on the air. Until then, give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Now, think about this and give me an answer on this. The cancel culture is now extending their hatred and their animosity and their destruction to George Washington. I've always referred to him as the father of our country, our first president of the United States. They are going after the man that probably was the most responsible for the intricate writing of our Constitution, Thomas Jefferson. They are going after Abraham Lincoln. They're going after Paul Revere, and as I stated a little bit ago this morning, they are also going after the writer of the greatest anthem, our national anthem, Francis Scott Key. These cancel culture people absolutely are running rampant right now, and they're working for the growth of a nation or they're working to terminate the growth of a nation and all the people that played a principal part in our history. And I absolutely do not understand. What's the matter, Deanne?
I need a number.
Yeah, well, the number is right there. There you go. Thank you very much. And I'd like you to call and tell me what you think about these people. The cancel culture tipping over statues or stopping the names of school. In San Francisco right now this morning, I was tuned in. The city council voted and the school board voted 6-1 to change and rename all the schools in San Francisco that might be Lincoln Elementary or Thomas Jefferson High School or Washington High, all of this. But then to go after these others also, like Paul Revere and, of course, Francis Scott Key. What's the deal, Deanne?
He's trying, but it just won't.
Trying to get a hold of him? Okay, we're trying to find our guest. This is kind of a three-ring circus, and I'm the main fat elephant right in the middle. Give me a call. Let me know what you think about the cancel culture. They've got to be stopped. And let's assume that in Rupert, on the square, let's say there was a statue of George Washington. Let's just go ahead and assume that right now. What would you do? And how would you react if a bunch of these punks, and that's what they are, went over to the square and decided they were going to topple and drag away the statue of George Washington or Abraham Lincoln? What would you do? Would you just stand there and look at them, or would you get a group of people, confront them, and stop them? This is what I think has to happen in our country. The blood, sweat, and tears that has gone into the building of this great country should not be diminished. The loss of lives of people that were willing to put their lives on the line for the advancement and growth of this United States of America means much more to me than the cancel culture and these punks that know nothing about history. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. Deanne, what did we find?
She's going to send her a text.
All right, they're going to text her and see if we can get a hold of her. Sean, kind of a message to you that everybody on our end is trying to find this lady, and hopefully you will hear from her or whatever in the next couple of minutes. So let's turn it over.
Still calling.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's turn it over to the phone lines right now and see if we can't have somebody call and talk to us about the cancel culture in this country. And what are we going to do to stop this? I said in the opening remarks this morning when I started this program, we, all of us, need to cancel the cancel culture. When they want to remove or take away, we must stand up against them and cancel their idiocy. This has got to stop. The erasing of our nation's history. I mean, Washington. And their excuse would be, well, we can't have him idolized or use his name for anything because he was a slave owner. Let me reiterate this one more time for these stupid, stupid people. At that time, in the world's history, like it or not, slavery was an accepted practice. That's not meant to demonize anyone. That's what happened back in the 1700s. I'm not saying it's right. I am saying it was wrong. And there's been reparations for that. And then to go after Lincoln and Jefferson and now Paul Revere. I mean, what are they after him for? Because he rode through the town at night yelling and screaming the British are coming, and now they want to cancel him out? And what about Francis Scott Key, the writer of the greatest national anthem ever anywhere, right here in the best country in the world, the United States of America? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, that was one of my favorite subjects in school, is to learn the history of our country, how it became such a great country, and to erase these names of these people who did so much to build our wonderful country is just wrong.
Well, what are we going to do about it, though? I mean, you're 83 years old, I'm 73 years old, and I'll tell you what right now, I will jump in at a heartbeat and try to stop these vermin, and that's what they are, from trying to eradicate and eliminate our history. They want to rewrite the history books. They want to get rid of people's names. They don't want the names on schools. I think that we should absolutely hold in the highest regard people like George Washington. And I said yesterday, and I meant it, Keith, on my desk, thanks to Dee and Patty Christensen, I have the Prayer at Valley Forge in bronze on my desk, where Washington is kneeling in the snow with his horse standing beside him, and he's praying for success for our military in this country. I'm telling you right now, these people gave it all. They put their lives on the line. They put their families' lives on the line to fight for this country. And we're letting vermin, worthless vermin of the cancel culture destroy this?
Well, I don't know that we have any statues around, Burley, or anything. But if I hear of one that they're tearing down, I will be there. And about the best thing I can do is take a baseball bat. But I wouldn't mind using it on somebody.
You know, and the minute you say that about violence, but they've got to be stopped. I mean, the government seems to mamby-pamby them and handle these people with kid gloves. But when I saw these statues coming down, even of the Civil War people, I mean, there were a lot of people that were very committed in the Civil War. And to go into the South, in Georgia, or whether it's Louisiana, or whether it's Florida, or the Carolinas, and go in there and minimize many of these people that had distant relatives that were back in the Civil War, and say that you're going to have a cancel culture and get rid of all of them and hold them in absolute disdain, you're opening up more of a rift and a chasm in this country that doesn't need to happen.
You know, just to change it just a little, switch gears more or less, what about our veterans?
Yeah.
You know, they're going to put up a memorial in Twin Falls for the veterans who lost their lives.
Yes.
I think that's wonderful.
I do too.
What about us poor old vets that did whatever was necessary when we were in the military? we get very little mention. And I'll tell you what, I'll promise you, any store that does not give veterans a discount, I will not frequent unless I can't get it anywhere else.
I can't imagine the attitude or the mindset against our vets. And I won't even put up with it. If anybody calls this program and they say something that is absolutely derogatory against our veterans that were in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, the Marines, I mean, you're talking to a guy, just like Merle Haggard's song, "You're on the fighting side of me." And we've got to start standing up for our past and our heritage and our history. And when you see these people destroy these monuments and stand there and absolutely curse with foul language the people that put their lives on the line. I mean, when I watch that movie, and you've seen it, The Patriot with Mel Gibson, remember that movie?
Yes.
And I think that movie was really indicative of how absolutely dangerous and how trying the times were during the Revolutionary War and the birth of this great country, the United States of America. And I think that these people that are of the cancel culture should be tied to a chair, and they should be forced to watch that movie for no less than 2 weeks straight, 24/7.
Well, I have had lots of friends now that have passed on who served in the United States military. And thank goodness we have a group. Chuck Driscoll is a very wonderful person as far as the vets are concerned.
Yes. I couldn't agree more. I think Chuck is outstanding. I've enjoyed working with him and trying to help him what little bit I have been of help. And I agree with you. Keith, I've got another call waiting, and you really filled the void this morning. I appreciate it. You are a dear friend. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, thank you. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Zebediah.
Hello, Bob.
All this goes back to our do-nothing politicians.
In what way, Bob? Explain that a little bit.
Well, I think that our senators and our congressmen that are doing nothing could put a stop to some of this stuff if they just wanted to.
You know, Bob, let me ask you something. You and I are of the same age bracket, pretty close. When you were a kid, and I'm being very serious, and I want you to give me a serious answer. When you were a kid, a teenager, did you ever think at that time that we would see these complete lowlifes jerking down the statue of George Washington and dragging it through the mud or beating it into pieces with hammers and everything else? Did you ever think that would happen in America?
Nope, never did. And it shouldn't happen either.
I just don't understand, Bob, help me on this, why we have let this happen. Why?
I don't understand it either, Zeb. I'm at a complete loss. And I just don't understand how Biden, notice I said,
Yes,
Biden,
yes.
I don't know how they can stand by and let all this happen. I just don't. And then still call themselves Americans.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a teenager, if anything like that would have happened, I can guarantee you, and I mean this, the guys that I was on the baseball and basketball teams with, football, they would have banded together and they would have, and pardon the expression, folks, beat the hell out of these punks.
Well, that's what we need today is a good, I'll call it butt kicking. It's something else, but I just don't understand. I don't understand even our own congressmen and our own senators. I don't know how they can call themselves Americans and just stand by and let everything happen and not say a damn word. I cannot understand it.
I'm at a loss myself because this would have never happened 50 years ago. Never. If these creeps, if these...
that happen.
That's right. If these creeps would have tried this 50 years ago, you'd have been reading about them being admitted to the hospital.
And, you know, I have to laugh at Keith. He's going to take a baseball bat at 83 years old. Is what's going to happen is they're going to use the baseball bat on him. So he wants to be careful.
Well, I agree.
What he wants to do.
You know, the thing is, we get criticized if we ever espouse violence or talk about violence against these people. But you know what? There's got to be a point. There has to be a point where you're not going to take it anymore. And those statues that represent this country, its history, and the blood, sweat, and tears that form this, the greatest nation of all on the face of the earth, the United States of America, somebody and groups of somebodies have got to stand up and say, enough is enough.
And old Biden is going to keep our National Guard back there to use to protect him and do some of these things that should not be done
Absolutely.
in the United States of America.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Bob, I appreciated the conversation. Thank you so much for your call.
Have a good day, sir.
I will, my friend. Thank you. You know, really, folks, think about it. We sit back, whether it's in our living rooms listening to this show or later on in the day watching the news, and then before we go to bed, we maybe turn on a little movie or something and then watch the news and say, oh, isn't that terrible? Look what these people are doing. Why, they just tipped over a statue of Abraham Lincoln and smashed it. Oh, look at that. They're after anything as a reference to Francis Scott Key, who wrote the national anthem. Oh, let's get rid of the national anthem. Oh, let's go ahead and demonize Paul Revere for riding through the streets saying the British are coming. You know what? When are we going to ever take a proactive stance? And I mean this. And say enough is enough. No more. No more. Time for the weather. Weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. The professionals that have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area and beyond for well over 50 years. Oh, these people are good. They're so talented and nice, too. Really nice people. Tax return preparations, tax planning, business consulting, payroll services, bookkeeping services, retirement planning. Whew. The list goes on and on. They are the best at what they do, and believe me, they can help you, your family, and your business. Don't forget they've got offices in Burley and Rupert. The professionals, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the forecast.
Chance of snow for the next couple of days, then maybe some sunshine for the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We do have a slight chance of rain and or snow showers off and on throughout the day. We are expecting a high of 47 and winds out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. For tonight, again, slight chance of rain and snow in the overnight hours, and we are expecting a low right around 41. Tomorrow, again, slight chance of rain and snow in the morning, rain by the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, high of about 45. That's a look at your weather. For Zebit the Rain.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate that. And once again, I want to remind you, with offices at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert, the professionals with the best of accounting services to serve you, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. You get a hold of those good folks today. You know, really, I'm going to keep posing that question. What are we going to do to stop this society that is in a stall out and a tailspin, headed for the earth to crash, if we don't step up and step in and stop this lunacy? I'm sure you don't want to pay $5, $6, and $7 a gallon for gas. I'm sure that you don't stand for abortion at birth. I'm sure that you can't stand what's going on with climate change and how you are going to have to pay for the changes of your home. You are going to be told that you have to go out and buy an electric car at $60 to $70 or more $1,000. Yeah, it's all coming back to us. When are we going to stand up and say, no, I am not going to do this. I am not going to be forced into this. I am not going to stand for you to wreck our communities. I am not going to stand for you cutting back on energy that we were energy efficient all by ourselves, and now we're going to have to look at buying energy from overseas. I am not in favor of you destroying the money that was paid from our energy to our school systems. And where are they going to get that money now that these will be curtailed? I am not going to allow these sinister, evil people that call themselves the cancel culture to go out and disrupt and destroy our nation's heritage and history. When are we going to say no? That's kind of my question right now. When are we going to say no? And how? Are we going to sit back and take it and absorb all this garbage like a sponge? Or are we going to stand up and say, that's it? That's it. Biden, Harris, the Democrats, and especially someone like Chuck Schumer that made the an irrational statement prior to the election that if Biden wins and we win the Senate and the House, we're going to change America forever. Well, maybe you and I didn't want that change. Maybe we liked living on Elm Street. Maybe we liked going to church on Sunday mornings. Maybe we loved to see the kids get on the school bus. Maybe we loved to watch our cows out in the pasture. Maybe we enjoyed having a dairy. Maybe we enjoyed watching our crops grow. But yet we sit back and we let complete buffoons that wear three-piece suits and wingtip shoes take things away from us. Why? Right now, I'm going to go into a subject that I'll quickly go through. Starving to death. If you're hungry, like I am, I eat my little bowl of cereal at 4 o'clock in the morning, and right about this time, I'm ready to put tooth marks into the microphone. You better try to stop into the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, they've got all the kids' meals, you know, the chicken nuggets and the fries and everything. And then, of course, don't forget, they've got the famous Farmer Brown burgers, and all the shakes like strawberry, raspberry, cherry shakes. Oh, my goodness. Good eating at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Let's move on over to Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. And, I'll tell you what, this is one of the great places to go for your morning coffee. But, you got to have a breakfast burrito with it. Woo, what a way to start the day. Scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, combination of both, cheese, onions, tomatoes, and sauce on a tortilla shell. You're going to grin like a Cheshire cat. I'll tell you, it's good eating at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. And then we say hello to our dear friends over at Burgers Etc. Not one, but two great locations at 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. I just stopped in there the other day for a burger. Good. I mean, these are really good people, both locations at Burgers Etc. And they're open every day, and they'd love to serve you. Oh, and by the way, in the afternoon, they got fish sandwiches after 3 p.m. for only $3.99. Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. And don't forget, last but not least, caller, I'll be right there, Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. They've got all the different steaks, the tender fillets and the ribeyes and the sirloins. Oh, my goodness, Double R Ranch provides those great steaks, and they've got all kinds of great tasty choices on the menu. You don't want to miss going there. Monday to Saturday, 11 to 9. Great folks serving you at Steve-O's, 290 South and 600 west of Hayburn. And those are some great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Zeb. Well, the price of gas here in Burley is $2.35 a gallon. It's been hovering around $2, $2.19 for. I mean, think about it. For 4 years, it never really did anything but just, it got up there a little once, but it was stable, and it was fair, and it was honest. And now, I guess because of all the disruption, whether whether or not it's actual. This is what my wife told me about the executive orders. She says none of these executive orders go into effect for 30 days. So I guess when they say that we've lost 60,000 jobs because of the XL pipeline, does that mean that it's going to happen or it did happen? But, perception is reality. If the people that price gas believe that we believe it should go up, it's going to go up.
Yep, absolutely. And it already has. The scare factor, S-C-A-R-E, the scare factor has already been implemented. Diesel is shooting up very close to $3 in many, many locations. Unleaded gas going up, and it's the scare factor. Oh, and then these people take advantage of it by going ahead with higher pump prices to beat their competition. And all in all, the American paying public is suffering.
Oh, yeah, I remember, like I said, in 08, 09, 10, it was death. It was. The freeways were sparse, and people were desperate and scared. And you say to yourself, well, we don't want to perpetuate fear, but, it is reality.
That's right.
And, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, and I just, I don't know if the sheer volume of economy that we've had that was running at a smooth, efficient rate, people were happy, and you say, well, why do you have to do this to us?
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, whether or not they feel they feel possessed to be global warmers and environmentalists, or China has every one of them dead to rights.
I agree with that. Randy, you can look at your watch and tell everybody that I've got to run to the news. I appreciate your comments, and I'm just going to say this, and I mean it. Look out for China. They are the dastardly deed that's waiting to come in here. Thank you, my friend. All right, I got to run to the news. Be back in 7. Don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch. Oh, welcome back to our last hour for this morning on this Thursday, January 28th. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires and service. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you about big things that are going on at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. What do you mean, Zeb, big things? Well, I'll tell you what, if you need carpeting for your home, you can really save some money during the January flooring event. Wow! You get 3 choices of the standard carpet for per month, or the better carpet at $89 per month, or the premium carpet at $99 a month. You can entire your home with the best of carpeting. And the same is true for the luxury vinyl. Oh my goodness, they got 3 different categories. The standard at $109 per month, or the per month on the better LVP, the luxury vinyl planks at $139, and the premium at just $169. You can really upgrade the quality of your home with this January flooring event from Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. These people really know all about the beautification of your home, and they've got the best of furniture. They've got the best of everything at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Let's see, what else have we got to tell you about? Oh, I got to take just a minute and tell you about Wix over in Declo. My goodness sakes, I've had so many people call me and ask about it, and I think I can sum it up in one word. Yep, delicious. Thank you for your call. Absolutely. Wix Steak Place and Burnout Saloon at 18 East Main Street in Declo. Look out. It is wonderful. They're open Wednesday through Saturday from 4 o'clock till closing time. And if you want to sit down and just stick your fork into a delicious prime rib or a steak or lobster ribs, oh, it's all there for you. Nice people, too. At Wix Steak Place and Burnout Saloon. I love that name. 18 East Main Street in Declo. You get over there, tonight. Right now, let's go to the phone line and visit with a lady that I have the utmost respect for. She's done such a wonderful job for education in the state of Idaho. Debbie Critchfield, good morning.
Good morning.
It has been a long time, my dear lady, since we've had a chance to visit with each other. Debbie,
it's been a while.
It is. And Sean, we got a little bit of feedback on the line there. Debbie, first and foremost, I want to compliment the Cassia County school systems. They are staying open. The kids are learning. The kids are looking eyeball to eyeball with other students and the teachers. Give us kind of a feeling of the temperament of what's going on in the Cassia County schools as compared to some of the areas of the United States like L.A., San Francisco, Chicago, etc.
Well, let me say that there is no comparison to the fact that Idaho schools, and we'll get real specific about Cassia County schools, have been able to provide what most schools across the nation have not been able to do. And I will only speculate as to why some have not been able to pull that off. But for our county and for most of the state, in-person has been in place since the beginning of the school year, and with some changes and adaptations to how we do a few things. But for the most part, students have been in class. We've been able to control the safety issues. We've had, at the beginning of the year, we did have some infection issues with teachers and staff. But really, I'm so proud of our district and what our state's been able to do.
I could not agree more. And when you see stories, and I'm not trying to get you in the middle of a comparison story, but it needs to be talked about. When you see and hear stories about kids that have not been in school for almost a year, like in the Chicago school districts, and the teachers' unions back there say, nope, we're not going to go back and teach the kids until it's 100% safe. Now, those words are so frivolous and stupid because please tell me what condition, what job can guarantee 100% safety?
Well, you're right. And it gives me a pit in my stomach when I think about other places where students have not been able to have access. And we're not talking about just educational services, but we know that schools provide a number of other things. They provide social opportunities for students to interact with each other. For some students, school lunch is the 1 or 2 secure meals that they get in a day. There's athletic events, there's band, there's all of the things that go with helping a child to be successful in life. And I don't know that we can fully appreciate or wrap our minds around the implications of this generation.
You know, Debbie, we've got a call waiting, and I'll just say this. I talked the other day to a mother of 3 children back in Illinois, and it was after my program. And she is absolutely mad and yet very sorrowful. Her kids have not been in school for almost a year, and their attitudes have changed. They're very withdrawn. They have lost a lot of their friends because they haven't had a chance to communicate face-to-face with them. And she said her kids absolutely look like just little statues sitting on the steps staring out into the horizon.
It really is troubling at best and horrifying at worst to think of what kids are missing out on. And I know that children have been more resilient in some regards than maybe some adults at adapting and making the changes. But in spite of all of that, or in addition to that, we also know how critical these connections and these relationships are, and how we're going to make up for these gaps that are being produced. I mean, I think we're years, nationally speaking, of course, years down the road before we really are able to make up for some of these things.
Absolutely. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Debbie. I want to commend you for looking out for Cassia County schools. And the other thing I want to mention is Andrew Ray, who is the vice principal of the high school. I have about 5 grandchildren going to Burley High School right now. And I'll tell you what, he knows the name of every one of them, and he's spoken to them or helped them along the way. Where do you find wonderful people like this?
Go ahead. Thank you, caller. Debbie, answer over the air if you would, please. Debbie?
For the shout. Oh, are you there?
Yeah, we got cut off for a second. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just saying thank you for the shout-out. It's always wonderful to get great feedback in the community. And Andrew Ray is special, and he has his eye out for students and has worked with students well. I'll tell you that we're always on the prowl to look for people within our system. Andrew was a teacher at Burley Junior High, and thankfully chose to come into administration so that he could have an impact on more students' lives. And I think anytime we can find homegrown people that are committed and dedicated to students, we're happy to wrap our arms around them and get them into the system.
Debbie, I've got to ask you this because it's happening all over America. And quite frankly, it could happen here. The cancel culture is going out en masse and trying to eliminate and obliterate schools that have the name connected to George Washington or Thomas Jefferson or Abraham Lincoln. And they've even extended that to where they're after any school that might be referred to with Paul Revere or the writer of our national anthem, Francis Scott Key. This cancel culture has got to stop. And the cost that's going on in San Francisco right now, where their silly, stupid school board voted 6-1 to change all the names away from the presidents, it's going to cost almost over $1 million to do this. Why are we catering to this silly, senseless cancel culture?
I'm happy to report that that is not taking place in Cassia County. And I have, like you, heard and just been very upset by what I'm seeing. I think anytime, this is just me, my own personal thoughts on this, but I think anytime a culture begins to reject its history, we're headed down the wrong road. And as you know, we look at the past and we learn from the great things. We learn from the things that we're not proud of, but nonetheless, that's the history of our country. And so it is upsetting to see those things. I know that as our board looks at curriculum for U.S. history, that community expectations are always considered. The community members are a part of those curriculum decisions. And again, the people that are in our buildings are our own people. That they're our neighbors, our friends, our family. And so it's nice to live in a place where we still honor the past and we honor our presidents, we honor the history, and want to teach it to the students, all of it, to our students.
It's absolutely mind-blowing to me, and I'm an old man. I'm a lot older than you are. But when you look back on our nation's history, and again, Sean, there's some feedback here. You look back on our nation's history, and these aren't perfect people. They were not Jesus. They had, during the period of time that they were in prominence, like George Washington, slavery was an accepted practice around the world at that time. And now, over 200 years later, to sit back and demean and absolutely try to cancel them over what was an accepted practice at that time, this is ludicrous.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I think you're probably referring to the 1619 Project, and I can't wrap my mind around it. I truly can't. These are, as you pointed out, that's our history. And understanding it and being able to think critically about it and have those discussions and talk about it, I don't understand how erasing those things improves anything for anybody.
You know, Debbie, yesterday, in relation to what you just mentioned, I had the president of the National Association of Scholars, Peter Wood, and he has written many, many pieces about this 1619 Project. That's an effort to destroy America by teaching children that really America never existed except as a lie told by white people in an effort to control black people. That is absolutely sinister.
Well, and besides, Senator, it's almost laughable. I mean, I have to question, how do people get to this place? I mean, how do you go from, we know what the history is, and I don't know how you get to a point where it's acceptable to reject that, to change it, to manipulate it in a way to fit something that, someone believes should drop in to today's culture. And, I think that the most powerful way to combat these things is in our local communities, that we continue to make sure that those expectations that we have as individuals, that we talk within our families, and that we continue to promote the values that really are what make America great, and that we get more people to buy into that and to continue to support that. And hopefully you can diminish and reduce some of the other voices.
How do school systems, though? This is a question I don't understand, and you are so well versed in education matters. How do school systems get trapped into thinking that this 1619 project is the way to go? Already across the country, many school systems have adopted this as part of their curriculum, and it's absolutely tearing apart any part of the pride in America.
I will tell you that it comes down to a local school board, as they are the authority, the governing authority for what happens in a school district, down to the types of books that are used in a classroom. Those are very important positions and are many times overlooked when it comes to election times. They're down ballot election choices, and we think, oh, it's just a school board. Let's really focus on the governor or on some of these things. But the local school board impacts all of those decisions. They choose the curriculum. And I think nationally, as individuals are elected to boards in larger cities, and they're able to promote agendas within their school system, then it's difficult. It's not impossible, but it's difficult to challenge those things once they get in place. And then somebody may be in a position where they want to challenge another board member, but because of support of one idea. And again, it comes down to that local community and being strong in its values.
And also, I would add as an addendum to what you just said, it's going to take a lot more involvement with the parents and the teachers and the school board to see that this absolute idiocy is not prevalent in school systems all across America.
Right. And I've thought a lot about how many people during the pandemic have moved into Idaho because they were just fleeing their states because of policy decisions and lack of action. And we look at Idaho and we see that we've got the fastest growing economy and more people moving into the state than any other nation. There's no mystery to that. People want what we have. And I think it becomes very important for us to make sure that, of course we want new people into the state, but we want to make sure that in our communities and our families that we maintain those things that are the most important to us and are what are attractive to other people outside of
Absolutely. Absolutely. Overall, real quick, I'm almost out of time, but looking at now the downhill side of the school year, going into the spring and then also back to summer vacation, which is right around the corner. How are things going so far for this year?
They are clicking along, and just like you said, I mean, we're 2 months, we're eyeing spring break in 2 months, which is crazy to me, and a year away from when schools began to close. And so we're in this time warp of sorts, which teachers feel, and they're trying to get the information to students, but at the same time, it's kind of nice as we move through this portion of our lives that we get to somewhere where we can feel a little more comfortable. But, our board had a priority to have kids in person. That's where they started with their decision-making in the summer, and they worked backwards from that. Dr. Shank and Sandra Miller led that effort of implementation and how that organization was going to take place. Our teachers showed up to school. Our parents have been responsible with their kids. Our community has supported all of that. what a wonderful example of working together for a common goal. I'm so proud of the work that we're doing.
Absolutely. The communications director for the Cassia County Schools, and a lady that I absolutely respect for what she's done, Debbie Critchfield, thank you for being on the air this morning, and I really appreciate your straightforward answers. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you much. Wonderful lady right there. And I salute the Cassia County school system and all school systems that are open and teaching our kids face to face. Right now, let's go to the phone line. Holy smokes, we're going to talk to a gentleman.
I'm trying to get this guy on the line.
All right, well this man. We're trying to get a gentleman on the phone right now that's been one of our great, great advertisers for a long, long time, almost since the beginning of this program. And that's, of course, Kevin over at Daryl's Cleaners. And as soon as we get the word that he's on the phone, we will visit with him a little bit. Nice guy, really a fantastic person, along with his wife, Cindy, and like I said, really, really good friends. Coming up, I'll give you a little news note while we're trying to get Kevin on the phone, is that at 10:32 this morning, we're going to do something a little different for a Thursday. We're going to have a person from our Monday programming, and that's, of course, Rick Manning, and we're going to be talking about free speech. That's coming up at 10:32 this morning. Right now, I want you to listen to the voice of a great, great man, and he's got a business that they do a wonderful job taking care of your clothes. If you look good, you're going to feel good. Good morning, Kevin at Daryl's Cleaners. How are you?
Great. How you doing, Zeb?
Well, I'm good. Now, listen, I'm going to ask you, you're staying off the roof, aren't you?
Yes. I learned my lesson, I think.
Okay. Listen, how many years...
I find out that, when I was young, I knew everything.
Uh-huh.
Now that I've gotten a lot older, evidently I've gotten a little less smart.
That happens to all of us, Kevin. Listen, how many years? Give us a little historical background about Daryl's Cleaners. How long have you been there in Burley?
Well, my parents moved to Burley and took over Seagull Cleaners back in '57, and then they moved out across the river, and they named it Sudsy Dudsy Laundromat and Dry Cleaners, Minnecaja Cleaners.
Uh-huh.
And then they moved to this spot in 1964 and named it Daryl's.
I see.
We've been there ever since.
You know, the thing I like about you and the way you do things, I mean, I was traveling really hard in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s. And wow, I mean, you did the best job of anybody anywhere around the United States, and the pressing of the Wranglers and taking care of my shirts and taking care of my sports jackets and everything. Outstanding job. And, you know, it's really something to help keep clothing in good shape, and that's where dry cleaning comes in, right?
Yes, it does. Dry cleaning does prolong the life of garments, textiles, everything. Keeping things clean prolongs the life, but dry cleaning is actually extra gentle on things.
Let me ask you this, along with the dry cleaning, whether it's ladies' dresses or businessman suits, or like in my case, the Wranglers and the shirts and everything, you also, you're doing washing. If people kind of get up against the wall and they haven't taken care of their washing, I understand that you will wash, dry, and fold their clothes, and all they have to do is just go in and pick them up.
Yes, I've been doing that too. We started that because we started doing it because of people that are coming into town from out of town working for a period of time or whatever, and don't have time to go down to a wash laundromat themselves. So yeah, we start doing that, and we'll do it for anybody, including those who live here.
Absolutely. Hey, you know, I think one of the greatest gifts, and we've talked about this during the Christmas holidays, one of the greatest gifts you can give anybody is maybe a little gift card for their birthday to where they can come in, and whether they've got a tablecloth that needs to be cleaned or maybe a suit or dresses or whatever, give them a little gift card to Daryl's, right?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And, by the way, what are the hours that you're open over there?
Well, since my accident, I've cut my hours back slightly. I open at 8:30 in the morning and close at 4:30 in the afternoon. It started out as recovery, but this whole last year, with the COVID and everything else, it just made more sense to just keep my hours at that. So Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30.
Okay, and I got to tell you, fans, this man and his family are so dedicated to the preservation and the good looking of your clothes at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Kevin, it's always good to talk to you. I've got a lot of respect for you and your family. Thank you for being on the program this morning.
Well, thank you, Zeb.
All right, my friend. Take care. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you so much. These people are so nice, and I enjoy working with them over the many, many years. Daryl's Cleaners in Burley. Right now, we're going to pass the ball over to Sean, and we've got some announcements at the bottom of the hour, and then we're going to come back with Rick Manning. Thank you very much.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And thank you very much. And we roll into the last half hour with a segment that I'm looking forward to, because the man that's here is normally here on Mondays, and we talk to him about all the different happenings in the United States and, for that matter, the world. He is the president of Americans for Limited Government, my dear friend Rick Manning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
Well, I got to be honest with you, Rick. The reason I was so absolutely happy that you could take this segment this morning, because I think we need to talk much more about this subject. In the last 10 to 12 days, the changes and the attitude against our First Amendment, our free speech in this country, is absolutely under attack. Would you agree or disagree?
Well, I'd agree 100%. But Zeb, it's not that, it shouldn't be a surprise. The Democrat Senate under Harry Reid voted to eliminate the First Amendment as it's written and replace it with a much longer amendment that put all sorts of restrictions on speech. So the Democrats haven't changed their stripes, but the difference is now they're willing to push forward, and they figured out a way to do it in a much more egregious way. So yeah, they were honest 4 years ago when they passed legislation urging the First Amendment to be changed.
What are we looking at in this society, Rick, in your opinion? Am I way off base in thinking that we're headed towards an Orwellian-type government, to the point where two guys sitting in a coffee shop discussing politics, all of a sudden here comes somebody and they're arrested? How far away from that sinister idea are we?
Well, I think we're getting pretty close. We have to go to kind of the origins of this. Somewhere in the past 10 years, the idea has become really prominent on our college campuses that hurtful speech, was in fact a victimization. And so speech codes became the norm on college campuses. And in doing that, the people who have been educated over the past 10 years, and this then extends down to high school and junior high school and elementary school. So the people we've been educating, our kids, essentially have been brainwashed into believing that if they don't like speech, they can shut people up because that's hurtful and harmful. And the old concepts of sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, is a foreign concept to people under the age of 30.
You know, when I look at this situation with President Trump, and I said this the other day, and I will stand behind my statement. During his years as president, I felt secure. I felt financially like I was being protected. I felt like the bad guys in the world were going to be held at bay. And now with the change in leadership and the presidential dictates that Biden is passing out with executive orders, I'm cringing at 73 years of age, wondering and hoping and praying if I'm going to have somewhat of a retirement left.
Well, I think it's reasonable to be concerned. I don't believe that they'll necessarily attack your retirement funds per se, but but when you try to destroy the free market system, when you go on a jihad against capitalism, what you effectively are doing is you're affecting every single one of our 401ks. You're attacking every single IRA. And they're truly affecting the pensions because pensions are reliant upon investment income to be successful.
And when we talk about the government, and the reason I kind of went roundabout on that last subject, when we talk and complain about the government, it seems like more so every day that our free speech is, they consider a direct attack on them, and that's where they want to cut back on our liberties. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. They do not believe that anyone should be able to have an opinion other than the one which they sanction, and and that's just true. The cancel culture is all about that. And let me tell you what set me off yesterday, and it was at Republicans. There's a move afoot amongst the Republicans in the Senate right now. Since the impeachment of President Trump is not going to, former President Trump, is not going to go forward, since 45 Republicans said it was illegitimate and unconstitutional, the alternative that Susan Collins, senator from Maine, who voted to impeach, essentially, her alternative is to censure the president for language they don't like. And let me tell you what that means. What that means is the Senate and perhaps the House would pass legislation, pass a censure of a politician for language that politician used, which did not incite violence. What it did is it drove emotions, but it didn't incite violence. The dirty little secret, Zeb, if a politician doesn't drive emotions, they don't get elected. Politicians drive emotions. What we're talking about is important stuff. If you don't care about something enough to actually be able to talk about it passionately and defend it passionately, then you really are in the wrong business. So this is a passionate exercise. Our founders understood this was a passionate exercise, and that's why they specifically protected political speech. This isn't, free speech isn't the ability to post a dog picture on Facebook. Free speech is the ability to talk about issues that matter in an impassioned way without fear of the government kicking down your door and arresting you. That's what free speech is. Free speech, the media thinks that free speech is that I can publish what I choose to publish in my newspaper, my platform, and nobody can say anything about it. But they want to then say that I don't have free speech when I don't have necessarily a newspaper or something like that. And if in my blog site, I say something that they don't like, that free speech that extends to the printed press, in their mind, does not extend to me, a blog. So that's the challenge here, Zeb, is that we've got one side that does not believe that the other side has a right to exist. And because they don't believe we have a right to exist, we certainly don't have a right to speak. And as a result, they are doing everything they can, both in pressuring businesses and employers, but advertisers, all throughout the entire gamut of ways you can pressure, to try to shut up those who they don't agree with. And the fact of the matter is, we have to figure out ways to communicate when they are successful in shutting down certain platforms, and we have to create alternative means, which is why I'm urging everybody to subscribe to Americans for Limited Government, our website, because that way I can communicate with you directly You don't have to go to a Facebook or Parler or somewhere else that are vulnerable to being taken down.
I have visited over, stand by caller, I'll take your call momentarily, stand by. I have visited over the last couple of days this week, Rick, with many, many people that are involved in my industry as talk show hosts, and I think all of us, I've talked to people in Massachusetts, I've talked to people in my home state of Wisconsin, I've talked to people in Texas. All of the people I talk to are extremely worried that their careers and their livelihoods may go by the wayside with this Biden administration.
I think rightfully so. It's a talk radio is particularly vulnerable because you use the airwaves, and the airwaves are controlled by the government. And if the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, decides that they're going to go and say, okay, Station X, I don't like the speech that happens on your station, so we're going to deny you your license. The people who own Station X are not going to be on a news talk format anymore. They're going to go and they're going to play the elevator music that's prescribed by the government. So you've got so that's the reality. It's not just the advertiser pressure, which they're trying to put on every single conservative talk radio, and that's, by the way, every single conservative talk radio advertiser gets pressured by a controlled left-wing attack on Twitter and elsewhere to try to get them to not advertise on conservative talk radio. So all of you listeners out there, pay attention to those who are willing to stand up and support this station, this program, and go and service them. Now, I'm not saying to necessarily go to the funeral home prematurely. What I am saying is these are people who are standing up, and so it's up to us as people in our communities who appreciate the programming to utilize the services of those who are willing to make it so those services can be brought to you, that these words can be brought to you. So that's very, very important also.
Amen. Caller, you're on the air. Quickly, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't know how long it's been since he was inaugurated, a week or whatever it's been, and the amount of hell that is coming down on the patriotic people of America is like I've never seen. And I say to myself, is there anything that you can tell us? Is there any way the Republicans fight back Mitch McConnell? Is it true that Mitch McConnell gave up all of the chairmanships on the committees because he made a deal with Schumer, and he did that because that way he could stop them from taking the filibuster? But if they have all the chairmanships on the committees, how are they going to stop them from taking the filibuster anyway? And is there any hope? Is there any silver lining? What can we do? I mean, I got to have something that I can hang my hat on here. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, Rick. Thank you.
You are, first of all, the caller is expressing a concern that I've heard time and again, and sometimes when I'm really kind of down, I kind of, sit there and ask the same question. The answer is, right now, there are two senators who are in between the filibuster being gone and not, and that's Kirsten Sinema from Arizona and Joe Manchin from West Virginia. You are correct that Senator McConnell essentially turned the majority control over to Senator Schumer because he believed those assurances he'd had from those two people. The thing that we have to, I'm going to give you a little bad news first. The fact is that they're now moving things through based on something called budget reconciliation, and they have the intent of passing some pretty egregious stuff on only needing 50 votes in the Senate using budget reconciliation. Having said that, it is we're going to look at the thing that we have to do. This is probably the big thing that you can do in Idaho. You have to get your state attorney general and your governor and your state legislators to start asserting the state prerogatives that exist under the law, and start telling, for instance, saying, if you're a big tech company and you're censoring people in my state, we're going to put you under increased liability, financial liability. And there's bills all over America that do that. If there's not a bill, and the American Legislative Exchange Council has the model legislation, tell your legislators to grab that and get on board in terms of stopping big tech censorship. That's one thing. Get your state legislators to start telling your congressmen that if they don't start standing up for the people of Idaho, that they're going to run against them and beat them in a primary. Have them tell your senators, your U.S. senators, the same thing. There is no excuse. And tell your attorney general, by the way, to file suits or join lawsuits against the federal government on things which directly violate the rights of the citizens of Idaho and directly violate the Constitution of Idaho. That's the responsibility of your state government. And so if you can't, the key to life is figuring out where you can fight. And where we can fight is from the state up, from the local government up. And that's the place we have to fight and fight in the courts. And while it may seem stupid to say this, believe it or not, the Ninth Circuit is an evenly divided circuit now in terms of the makeup of the Ninth Circuit. So there's actually an opportunity to win at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals on basic issues, and whether or not we get it to the Supreme Court or not. So it's worth fighting it. It matters to fight it, and by fighting it, what you and I are doing is we are forcing the other side to do exactly what they forced Donald Trump to do: defend everything in court, which drags everything out and causes it and makes it take a heck of a lot more time for him to basically do this fundamental transformation. But ultimately, I will tell you, if your two senators aren't out front fighting against this, you've got the wrong U.S. senators. They can't be passive. This is, I've said this before on this air, and I can't say it enough. I understand when a senator who represents a state like Maine is passive, but I don't understand when a U.S. senator who represents Idaho is passive. They need to be aggressive. We don't need people, and that's just a fact. You need to let your senators, U.S. senators, know in no uncertain terms that it's time for them to join the fight. And once again, one of them, I don't remember which one, is up for re-election in 2022. And if they're not if they're not willing to fight, then you guys need to replace them.
Absolutely.
I don't live in Idaho, not my decision, but it frustrates the heck out of me to be fighting a fight and discovering that the people who are most negatively impacted by these government policies, who the Department of Homeland Security is specifically targeting, that the people who are elected to represent them are missing in action in the fight.
When you look at the situation that's in the media right now, Rick, with the Don Lemons and the Cuomos and everyone else that are out in bitter condemnation of anybody that supported Donald Trump or any of his policies, and basically calling them all the names they can and saying that they need to be reprogrammed or put in concentration camps, have their minds altered, how in the world are you ever going to create a unity situation in this United States of America? I won't unify. I will not abide by what they want. I will never go under their tent, under their umbrella, and accept their filthy policies. So I guess I'm going to be canceled out.
The answer is they don't want unity. They want supplication. They want us to kneel. They don't want unity. What they want is conformance. They want to shut us up, shut us out, and if this is what it takes to shut us down, that's what they want to. That's what they will do, because this unity that they talk about is a unity that says accept what we say, do what we say, and then we won't hurt you. That's not unity. That's slavery.
Absolutely. So well stated. I've got time for one more quick call. Caller, real fast, please.
Well, forgive me for calling back, but I think this is important. When you said Dan Lemon on CNN, is it true that Alabama, Mississippi, and another southern state took their state rights and banned CNN by the FCC, banned them from broadcasting in the states, those states. Am I mistaken? I'll hang up.
I don't know the answer to that, please.
I've not heard that, and I do know that CNN is dropping their airport coverage. I don't know why, but they're dropping their airport coverage, which is a good thing for America. So it's at least travelers won't be put into a lot of pain by having to watch CNN as they travel. But I've not heard about individual states doing that, and quite honestly, I don't know if individual states can do that.
Well, I just think that we've got a lot to be scared about in this country right now, and we've also got a lot to be proactive about in this country, all the way from our education system with the intrusion, I'll say, of the 1619 Project, all the way up to the cancel culture, getting rid of Washington and Lincoln and others on the names of schools. We've got a lot to take care of, but it's going to take people to get involved, and I think it's time that we canceled the cancel culture.
100% agree, and remember, the single most prominent phrase in the Bible is, be not afraid. So don't let fear drive you. Let it be determined, but don't let fear drive you, because fear always ends up in a bad place. Be courageous instead.
You know, I have nothing but good things to always say about this man, because he's been so helpful to this program, the president of Americans for Limited Government, my friend, Rick Manning. God bless you, sir, and talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Zeb. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Boy, I tell you what, you can take what he says to the bank, and I have the ultimate of trust in Rick and what he's done, what he's achieved, and he knows what's going on. Right now, I'd better be aware of what's going on and tell you about the weather forecast. And the weather brought to you this hour by our dear friend Don Scaro and his excellent staff at 331 North Road, Jerome. Boy, do they have the great meats, the delicious meats, all the tri-tip, all the prime ribs, all the different bacons, all the different sausages, and the bratwurst. Oh, I love their brats. You will too. 324-7657, the number to call, or go to their website, scarosmeats.com. Don't forget, Scaro's Meats over in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Chance of snow for the next couple of days, then maybe some sunshine for the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We do have a slight chance of rain and or snow showers off and on throughout the day. We are expecting a high of 47 and winds out of the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. For tonight, again, slight chance of rain and snow in the overnight hours, and we are expecting a low right around 41. Tomorrow, again, slight chance of rain and snow in the morning, rain by the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, high of about 45. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, Gina, thank you. Always a great job. Very comprehensive job with our weather forecast on Zeb at the Ranch. Brought to you this hour by Scaro's Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to call, 324-7657. And they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Real quick note, too, about our major sponsor, and we really appreciate all they do, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. People that really run right out to your vehicle to see what they can do to help you. With the best in tires, all the tread designs, all the sizes for all vehicles. And along with that, they've got highly trained brake technicians for the brake service, the front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. And I reiterate again, please don't go through the winter with a battery that might not make it, and then all of a sudden some morning you're going to be left out in the cold. They've got the best in batteries. 7 locations to serve you: James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line and Twin, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, and the Twist family and Paul, along with Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Bible verse for today is from Proverbs 14, verse 7. If you are looking for advice, stay away from fools. Amen to that. Quick note. next week, Sharon's going to have the program for me. Deanne and I are going to be taking care of some health issues and some other issues that need to be addressed. I'm going to tell you that it's probably going to be for the next week, and the week after that, we're going to be around the area. But Sharon and Gina are going to handle the program, and they do a wonderful job. So please call them and let them know all your thoughts and feelings about the different issues. And as I always say at the end of the program, the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the 4 words that mean the most to me: in God we trust. I wish you the very best. God's blessings. Zeb at the Ranch. Have a great day.